36 after the hour, right here on the top of Chicago. 1690 AM, WVON. You're listening to Real Talk, Real People. I'm your host, Chat Daddy, back for another evening of your favorite magazine show. And that's the rap song, Step Daddy. I picked that song out just for this segment. And a lot of times we hear that. We hear that a step parent comes into the situation and it's a hot mess. But you two, my wonderful couple, Mr. and Mrs. Kuntz, are here with us. Aria Craig, the noted author, and her husband Mario Kuntz, and fitness expert and all-around great couple, as well as the famed Black Siblings couple. I love it. That's what their claim to fame. So, step parenting. How does that all work? How do you establish a relationship? How did you become friends with his, or do you become friends with his son? How does that work? And same with you, even though you were the coach, and interesting dynamics. I can't wait to hear this. Who wants to start first?
I can start first. So, well, Mario has three.
Oh,
he has two daughters and a son.
Oh, okay.
And the girls are older. So when we met each other at the baseball park, we would go take my son to baseball and saw him as a coach. They clicked very well. So the two boys did. My son and my stepson clicked very well. They always did get along well. I had to really get to grow into a relationship with the daughters a little bit more, because dads are close with their daughters.
That's right.
Moms are close with their sons.
Right.
So that took a little bit more massaging, and actually now it kind of does. And
now, were they teenage girls or younger?
The oldest one was.
Okay, because a lot of times that makes a difference as well too. Okay.
Yeah, the oldest one was at the time we started dating. The children were 6, 7, 10, and like 13 or 14, something like that. Okay. So yeah, it's very much so. Even now, like at the beginning when we were dating and before we were engaged, I always had a great relationship with the son, but the middle daughter, we kind of had a little bit of a challenge with growing into a relationship. The oldest daughter, her and I clicked. So after we got married, it was reversed with the girls. Now I'm closer to the youngest daughter. But the boys, everybody is, because they're older now. The boys are both in seniors in high school, so everybody's gone off and about to graduate or already graduated from college or in college. Okay. So now with them being grown, it's very different. It's very different because now they're not even looking at it as parents. They're like kind of trying to do their own thing, get with their friends. Everybody's their last year in high school. They don't even want to hang out with us anymore.
But now, did the children at any point ever question you, like, what do you want with my daddy?
No.
Okay, so they didn't.
I never had that.
Okay, so they never did. So they understood that you were the new lady and that this is what it is. And, okay, very good. All right, so now Mario, how did this work for you?
The transition was relatively smooth. With my stepson, we always had something that we could connect with. Okay. And, whether it be baseball, sports, superheroes, comic books, that sort of thing. A lot of the things that he was into, I could relate to because I was into him at the time, or I was when I was, younger. So we always had that. Okay. So we could bond over those sorts of things. So that helped quite a bit. So making that transition, going from coach to mom's boyfriend to eventually mom's husband. It was kind of a natural progression, and we were able to develop the relationship based off of
So now the title of mom, dad, are you called by your first? How does all that work? Like are you mom, dad, or stepmama, or do they call you by your first name? How does it all work out?
My stepson calls me by my first name, and I've never had an issue with that. Okay. Now his dad is in his life, and that's dad, and I understand. I'm the stepfather, and although it doesn't have any effect on the relationship or our interaction, he refers to me by by my first name, and that's fine. There's no issue with that. That's a sticking point for some people. It's never been a factor in our relationship.
Okay, and what about for you?
The same with me. I never had any issues with that, and probably because we got together when the kids were a little bit older. It's not like they were babies or toddlers or anything like that. So I don't even have an issue saying stepchildren or stepmom or anything, because to me, we still care for them like they're ours. The step is just only recognizing the relationship by dictionary. So, which people have a problem with. You start talking about stepmom, stepdad. You start thinking about Cinderella and all these negative connotations. We don't put that on there. It's not the word. It's how you are treating them and treating them as your family. How you are blending together cohesively. How you are as a parent. I would prefer them to not call me mom because they have their mom, and I feel like I would be disrespecting her. Okay. They are mom when I'm the pseudo mom when they are in my presence, when we are caring for them, when we're all together. I take the place of mom when we're together, basically. But okay. I wouldn't even want. With my son's father, he calls him dad. I don't even know if he would be okay with him calling Mario dad because he is the dad to his son. Okay. But he knows that he's an authority figure. He is a stepfather. He takes the place of father when dad is not present.
Okay, so now that kind of goes to my question of when it comes to discipline in the household, as well as the authority figure in the household. How does that all work out? Now, did you all buy a house together? Or did somebody kind of move into somebody's house? Or, just the changing of all of that dynamics. And does both young men live with you all?
No.
Okay.
My son lives with his biological mom. Okay. And my stepson, my wife's son, lives with us. Okay,
very good. And so you came into a household situation.
Correct.
That was already there.
Correct.
And how was that transition?
Well, one of the things that had to be recognized is that one of the major reasons that divorce takes place is because of differences in parenting styles. So it's I'd advise anyone.
See, she might use an extension cord, where you might use a Hot Wheels racetrack. Remember that Hot Wheels track? Your mama would take it and bend it and tear your ass up at that racetrack. So I mean, you know what I'm saying? And where she right, or like I told you, I was 21 years old before I realized an extension cord was really to extend a cord. I didn't know. I thought it was to always beat you. So yeah, I did. I mean, so you might use an extension cord. You might use that Hot Wheels racetrack. So right.
It's important to have that discussion. What is your parenting style? Because in a situation where someone gets in a circumstance where they don't know exactly what to do, what do? They typically revert back to what was done to them when they were at that age. Mm-hmm. So if they were if it was physical discipline, then that's what they revert back to. If it was you're going in the naughty corner, or you're on punishment, or I'm going to take away your television, then you kind of revert back to those things. So it's important to have that discussion. How do we intend to discipline our children? And even more so, what do you consider to be discipline? Is it, like you said, is it the physical discipline? Is it, timeouts and that sort of thing? And then
y'all send a child to the naughty corner, but yet y'all go to the naughty hotel. I'm just gonna leave that right there. Child be looking at y'all like, wait a minute, y'all been to the naughty hotel, we're gonna put me in the naughty corner. Okay, all right, but how does that work?
And then, another big part of that is, what do you consider to be an offense worthy of discipline? Mm-hmm. So is it, a bad grade on the report card? Is it talking back? Is it failing to wash the dishes when you were told to do so? Is it not taking out the garbage? So what is it that I consider to be an offense or something that you've done that warrants discipline?
Mm-hmm. And see, a lot of mom are so glad just to get a man in the house that they relinquish a lot of their control, and that does present a lot of resentment within the child and the mother. So how did it all work out for you?
I gotta say it wasn't always easy at first. That's why we say we have to have the conversation about that beforehand, before you get married. That's such an important part of the conversation when you're coming into a marriage with children. Because like my husband said, everybody's discipline strategy is different. For us, it took some trying out because we have good kids. Our kids are really good. So when they get out of line, it's just few and far between. So we didn't really have a talk about that. We had to basically have a discussion after we got married. So now it's with them being older, it's kind of it's easier, of course, with them older and they're all grown just about. But when we first got married, it was one of those trial and error type of things because we really didn't have to address that because we didn't have to deal with it beforehand. But I just want to let everybody know with the listeners, marriage, whether you're in blended or not, it's not always bliss. There is constant, continuous growth. and improvement and evolving and getting to know each other, getting to know each other's idiosyncrasies and what makes that person tick, their love language. And then when you have children in the mix, just having that conversation to understand the authority figure and how the structure is going to be from this point forward, because the child is thinking in the now. So they need to understand, how is this going to work, because I don't see mommy, they're used to seeing mommy and daddy together. Is he going to whip me? Is he going to spank me? And how is it? I've never been spanked.
Right.
I spanked my son.
Okay.
I know I told we were having a conversation over here, we have to say physical discipline, but I just said spank. I'm gonna tell you, I believe in that spare the rod, spoil the child principle in the Bible.
Okay.
So, but
so Mario came in a little bit more cooler about it. like we're gonna sit down and we're gonna and we're gonna do a little Tai Chi and we're gonna. Is that what you right? Is that what you right? Or are you like, look, I'm gonna tear that behind up?
As a child, I mean, I got
right.
whippings.
Okay.
I've never been a spanker as a parent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've had to do it maybe 3 times out of all 3 children.
Okay.
And that, for whatever, I just didn't. I found other ways to do that and get my point across. But that's it is. Is it something that I would just totally just eliminate as an option? Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
Under certain circumstances. But that's kind of the way that I took it. I mean, the discipline that I'll utilize might be, there's no set way. I mean, depending on the circumstance, I'll kind of adjust to make sure that what point I'm trying to get across, what lesson I'm trying to teach that child, the discipline has to reflect that.
Yeah, that's very important. We both agree to that.
Okay, all right. We're gonna run the break. When we come back from break, I want both of you to give your best honest advice to this audience tonight about blended marriage, your closing statement, that type of thing. You've done an excellent job tonight, and I definitely want to have you back to talk about other things, because we do live in a society now where people are looking for love. Those that have been married before maybe want to put their toe back in the water, and so I want to pick your brains on a few other things, as well as some of the topics you brought up I think would be fascinating. But you're a great couple. You did a great job tonight. Phones didn't ring, so that means they listening. Right, and that's the way we want it. That's right, because we teach a lesson on this show for people to enjoy. You're doing a great job.